Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Boy, do we have some crazy news, or just a realization. I think a lot of people have been paying attention to the new Masters of the Universe trailer, which I saw for myself and reacted very positively. I have a video on that here. You can check it out on the channel just a few days ago. But at the same time, if you compare it with what Star Wars has to offer from 4 months ago, Masters of the Universe is kicking Mando's butt. And it's not even close. We're going to talk about it, so here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder. I'm trying to get to 50K. I can only do that with your help, which means if you check down there and you see a little subscribe button and it's in red, click it, turn it to gray, and hit that little bell icon, turn all notifications on so you don't miss anything. Also, you don't want to miss any of the opportunities to leave feedback, so make sure you make some comments on this video and tell me what you think. Do you think this is laughable and an indication of the success or failure of what's going to happen with Star Wars, or do you think somehow this won't matter very much? Plus, you know, while you're down there, hit the thumbs up button. But let's get to the story. This is wild. According to our friend Marvin over at That Park Place, Masters of the Universe trailer beats Star Wars Mandalorian and Grogu 4-month total in just 2 days. Actually, it's 4 days now, but it doesn't or couldn't matter less if you think about the fact that this was pretty wild. It had already kicked its butt in an extreme way. As I put before, 10 to 25 million is a huge variance. In the newly released Masters of the Universe trailer, it quietly but decisively outperformed the trailer for Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu on YouTube, and not by a narrow margin. Now, honestly, does that surprise anybody? I didn't think that the Grogu movie was going to go very far because everybody ran out of hype for Grogu, including Disney. They didn't know what to do with their success, just like they didn't know how to react to the success of Frozen. And we can talk about that another time, but when we get to what's going on here, this isn't even close. I feel bad, kinda, but not really, because I've wanted good Masters of the Universe for a long time, and I know a lot of my friends out there have also wanted that as well. But within just 2 days of release, the Masters of the Universe trailer had surged past 16 million views. It now has over 24 million, 25 when I checked it, and I made the thumbnail. Now, that happened in just a couple of days, or 4 days, and it took Star Wars, that Grogu mess that they're going to call a movie, about 4 months to reach 10 million views. That disparity has ignited fresh debate about the current state of legacy franchises and whether audience enthusiasm is beginning to drift away from the once untouchable brands. But let's just be honest here. Is Star Wars untouchable anymore? Have they done anything that would bring back the regular crowd? You know, the people that made Star Wars popular. You know, those 50-year-olds that people like Kathleen Kennedy intentionally tried to shed. And of course, they didn't put any of that in the original MotU. For some unknown reason, they walked away from Tatooine, which is what their original design was, and into something, well, a little more controversial, for lack of a better way to put it. Now, of course, Aldo points this out, saying this is embarrassing. And yeah, very embarrassing indeed. As you take a look at these numbers, 2 days versus 4 months doesn't look good. What's more, the Masters of the Universe trailer has garnered 18,000 YouTube dislikes to a whopping 55,000 dislikes for the first theatrical Star Wars release in several years. Yeah, wasn't that like 7 years, maybe 8 years since we got the Star Wars garbage by the time this releases this summer? I mean, at face value, that comparison seems almost absurd, and it should feel that way. Star Wars remains one of the most recognizable entertainment properties in history, backed by Disney's massive marketing apparatus and a dedicated YouTube channel with more than twice the subscriber count of the Amazon MGM Studios account that's hosting the Masters of the Universe trailer. What does that tell you? It tells you that the interest in a successful and high-quality MotU movie is higher in hype going into this summer than anything that Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars has to offer. And by the way, this is Filoni's baby. So if this isn't good, it's not going to be good for Filoni, and it certainly isn't going to be good for Star Wars. Of course, this is a stunning reversal of expectations. For decades, Star Wars has existed in a different stratosphere than Masters of the Universe in terms of cultural dominance. He-Man, while beloved, has largely been treated as a nostalgic relic of the 1980s, resurfacing only sporadically through animated revivals and stalled live-action attempts. And that's being rather kind, because I'm going to tell you, Smith's garbage was just that. Garbage. It didn't hit any of the traditional keynotes that you need to hit for something that's reaching back in the past and grasping for a little bit of clout. It went the full feminist march into disaster. And that's what I was afraid Masters of the Universe was going to do once more. But it didn't. The context that makes the current Masters of the Universe Star Wars comparison especially striking is that the He-Man trailer didn't just perform well, it more than doubled the engagement of the new theatrical Star Wars release centered on two of the franchise's most recognizable modern characters. And again, even more notable is the speed of the response. Masters of the Universe trailer amassed most of its views in a matter of days, suggesting organic curiosity rather than slow algorithm-driven accumulation, which means, believe it or not, people like myself, Marv at the M4 Empire, and of course, Mr. H at HCast over on Mr. H Reviews, kind of were pushing this as much as we could because it's something we were excited about, we could report on, and actually looked good. That's surprising. One explanation for this is rather simple: overexposure. Star Wars has been a constant presence for more than a decade, spanning theatrical films, streaming series, animated projects, merchandise lines, theme park integrations, and so on and so on. Whereas what was once an event for many viewers became a lot of background noise. And that can't be described any better. I thought a lot of what we got, especially towards the end of Kathleen Kennedy's reign of terror, was something like The Acolyte, the complete polar opposite of what any legitimate Star Wars fan would want, which was bad. By contrast, Masters of the Universe feels paradoxically new, despite its age. The property has not been saturated in the modern entertainment landscape. The trailer leans heavily into the classic heroic imagery, and it has straightforward stakes. There's not a lot of confusion. You're not left wondering. There's no mystery box theater here. The visual spectacle, without signaling an overt reinvention, deconstruction, or feminization, is a good sign to a lot of classic fans, something that Star Wars doesn't know how to appeal to any longer. There's also the issue of context. The Mandalorian and Grogu is an extension of the Disney Minus series, whose viewership has reportedly declined over time. In fact, I don't think anybody has gone back to rewatch that except for maybe the Return of Luke episode. I mean, we certainly weren't all that excited to get Ahsoka as much as we've had, and that's really the only thing that Dave Filoni has ever focused on. But recognition does not always translate into sustained excitement, especially when audiences feel like they've already seen the story's peak. Well, how about the best parts were gone because of a political firing that occurred during the course of a show's production and a potential new show that had a lot of excitement behind it. And honestly, we can just stop there because I don't know that I can cap what that performance differential looks like in any other way than to say MotU destroyed Star Wars Grogu and Mandalorian. And I don't think Starfighter has a chance or a prayer of doing any better. I don't think Star Wars is coming out of the grave anytime soon, and I don't care that Filoni has tried to make some genuine overtures towards fans recently. We're still going to get more Filoni baloney and more Ahsoka than anybody would want, and leaning more heavily into the animated series, while that can be something fun to watch, isn't going to satisfy the overall general fan base, let alone the normies. At least those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know those thoughts in the comments section down below. Are you looking forward to Mandalorian and Grogu, or are you preferentially setting yourself up for Masters of the Universe, The Return of the Hero's Journey? Let me know those thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Probably not watching Mandalorian and Grogu. Yikes.